Alright, we're back for part 2 of this LUA series. What we're going to do today is we're going to take our circle image that we made last time, and we're actually going to link it to the values that are sent from the game to LUA for your specialist meter. So you already have one in your ammo display on the Giant, but we're going to make our own separate one just to show how you can link to some elements and get the values that you might want. So the first thing we want to do for that is we want to set the material to this material that allows us to set how full it is in a circle. And we can do this with set shader vector. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to change some shader constants and tell the game to render it differently. Every single material has their own setup, and with this material we can actually manipulate how much it shows in a circle. So we're going to set some default values here. We're going to set shader constant 1 to 0.5, 0, 0, 0. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. So we can set shader 2 to this exact same thing. Shader 3 again to the same thing, and we don't need shader 4. So these are all the default values that we want. Now we can go ahead and start linking it to whatever we want to link it to. So if we go ahead and do box widget, we want to actually use a special one for this one. So this is a global model, so we want to do subscribe to global model, your instance ref. This one's going to be per controller. The model you want to subscribe to. So this model is called zmhud.sword.energy. It's named like that because they were making Shadows of Evil before they made the Giant, I guess. And then we want to have a callback function in here. What we want to have in here is simply model ref. So this is the model that is actually associated with this text field here. So in here we can do things like model value equals engine.getModelValue model ref. So this should be the percentage. So now that we have the percentage, we can actually go ahead and do stuff with it. What we want to do with it is we actually want to set the shader vector to that value. We want to make it as full as it should be. So the first thing we want to do is check that there actually is a model value. Basically, checking if there is a model value is the same as checking if it's not nil. So you could either do if model value, or you could do if model value equals nil and say not. So those are exactly the same as each other, but I just prefer to write it this way. So if we do have a model value, we can go ahead and set the shader vector as 0. That's the one that we want to use to actually manipulate the fill. And these values are pulled right from the original specialist meter. But for the sake of this, we don't want really any differences, so let's just make those 0 and 1. And then these come from this here. So let's do shader w equals pod get vector component from string, and that string is going to be your model value, and we want the first one. We're just going to copy this for the other ones, w, x, y, and z. Then we're going to do 2, 3, and 4. So now we can just take this spot and say shader w, shader x, shader y, and shader z. We just got to make sure these all line up, which looks like there's an extra one here. So now there's the right amount here, and this shouldn't be model value. This should actually be box widget. So that's all that we need to make it fill up according to the thing. So let's go ahead and go in game and see how it looks. Alright, so we're in game now, and I've gone ahead and shot all the teddy bears so I get the Annihilator to show up, so let's go ahead and grab this. Alright, so we have it, and it's full, it's ready, so our bar is full. If we go ahead and start shooting, it's going to update this circle bar the same way it updates the circle bar on our ammo HUD. So we've successfully linked an element to a value. It's red still because we set it to be red, and we haven't done anything else with it. So I think that's going to be the end of this one. If you have any other questions, go ahead and leave a comment, or I don't know, if you see this in the Discord, DM me. Alright, thank you for watching. Adios. Just a quick note after the end of the video, I used a just start end here because that's just what I could pull from the original files. We don't need this since our beginning is going to be 0 and our end is going to be 1. This function lets you say, like, what if we wanted to start at, you know, a third of the way through the image and end at, I don't know, 90% of the image. So since we're not doing that, we could actually just go ahead and do it like this, which is going to be more in line with what we had up here. So either way you want to do it is totally fine. It's just a just start end can be useful in some cases, like in the ammo widget. It doesn't actually make a full circle. It makes most of a full circle with like an arc missing. So that's why it was like that. You don't necessarily need to do that, but it can be useful in some situations. Alright, this is the end now, for real.